I am on the search for the scariest stand. And I'm not talking about the most terrifying to deal with because there are some clear winners there. I'm talking about stands with the best utilities to scare someone without the intent to hurt them. Number 1 might surprise you, but I think number 2 is definitely the most messed up one. Okay, now here are the rules. Leave a comment on your idea for what the best scary stand is. Well, I'll tell you right off the bat, there are a lot of stands that don't work here. So I have stands labeled as too dangerous or impractical, and these are stands that are both for this area. Holly stand, Cheap Trick, Notorious B.I.G. Wheel of Fortune is just outright ridiculous, but did you know it's a reference to the 1983 Stephen King movie Christine, the movie about a killer car? If you didn't know, now you do. Now there's a lot of abilities that aren't going to do the job, so this will be the first big filter to just axe all of these BS stands out the way. Next filter, onto the dangerous ones. The sun, not a good move. They usually don't make homes for a force like this. That's the reason why we're getting destroyed by climate change currently. Imagine trying to use the sun somewhere in like New York. It's a terrible move. Purple haze, not happening. Green day works if you're as intelligent as Chocolata in tearing yourself apart, but I feel that the percent of people like Chocolata in this world is a negligible amount. Hopefully, at least. You can't also use a stand like Cream in a low-key way. It's a giant ball. It's like, no, there's no low-key. It's a large commitment, and just for the area to get filled with property damage. It's ridiculous. Chariot Requiem doesn't answer to anybody, so we're just gonna write that off. Bad Company, White Album, Pet Shop, hell, even Aerosmith. It's all too much. It's too much damage. So let's remove those ones for the next.
Open the door.
Now there are impractical stands. These, while not too dangerous, don't work for our scenario. Mandem
You so foul.
doesn't seem practical for a real life situation. Yes, I can rewind time, but where would I do that to just get a good scare? Maybe if I dressed up as something and sat in a place where the person that I'm trying to scare has to go to, and then I'll rewind like a lesser version of Happy Death Day, but that's a lot of work. And I feel like the person wouldn't be okay with that because, you know, temporal looping is terrifying for people.
Parker!
I probably wouldn't like it and wouldn't do it. Not practical. Love Deluxe seems like a terrible stand for you trying to go undiscovered. It's your hair, dog. We know it's you. D4C seems like a cool party trick for disappearing, but using it to its fullest extent, even a lower key version would make the person into a Circuit City. The way that they would just disappear from existence. King Nothing is the king of doing nothing in this, so there's going to be a lot more cuts. Next are the one that seem dangerous but should work in an ideal situation. These stands working banks on the ability to undo their powers. For example, Empress would be a great scare if your intent matches the stand 1-to-1 and that you can deactivate it at any time. That way you never actually hurt the person like that. Vitamin C looks like a fantastic scare, but this requires a good look at your environment. You don't want to tear your friend apart accidentally. Sounds terrible. Same goes with Soft Machine. So now knowing what doesn't work, we can find our number 1 spot. Going on to a couple of these better stands, they function more so as an elaborate ghost than anything else. Stands like The World, Star Platinum, and Spice Girl would do a great job as a regular old ghost. Stopping time seems like a good way to mess with someone's sanity. I think that same goes with making things soft, because imagine if your chair just turned into pudding. That's some shock. I'd definitely be shocked by that. Those were the close range ones. So then there's stands like Hierophant Green and Stone Ocean that function similarly with a greater distance potential. You'd be able to move things without people knowing, making random things explode and all ghost things like that. Next are the stands with illusion potential. Highway Star can make a trap room. White Snake can take you to the zone and put people into a trance, and Justice was out here casting an ability the size of a small town. King Crimson can make you see your past version of yourself as a byproduct of its primary power. Aluzo's Man in the Mirror would be a great way to mess with someone without them getting hurt in there. And then there's Sticky Finger and Doggy Style that do a great job with what looks like parlor tricks to a far extent. And after these stands, we're down to the ones that I just think they're good to be good. But remember, we're on the road for the scariest. good isn't good enough. Now, Death 13 would be a fantastic stand to help mess with people in their dreams, with the concept of stands being something that doesn't exist in our realm. They'd probably never get figured out, but the problem is the person needs to be close to you and asleep for it to work. Or, well, that was the Manish Boys version. Depending on who it is, you could probably have a different range. There's also Oasis, who is tremendously scary because imagine drowning on land. Like, that just doesn't sound right. Then there's stands like Weather Report, Foo Fighters, Earth, Wind and Fire, Mikitagas, The Fool, and even Paisley Park. And they're just way more practical for the situation. Like Paisley Park, like electronics, come on, dog, that's really easy to work with. These are relatively practical stand abilities that would get you far with your scare plans. Now we are at the top tiers.
And there it is.
You'd never get discovered with Rubber Soul because you have a face and body that you can change constantly. It's unstoppable. Pearl Jam would be amazing to help someone make someone else scared, and that's like the person that's not eating. Josuke was mad, confused, terrified. So that works for me. You don't have to get even the person to eat it. Like just be someone else on the side. That works amazing. Kenny G's tenor sax would have been great actually. That would have been one of the only times this stand could actually work because, oh, look at this big old illusion. Oh, very scary. Where do we go? Like that would have been amazing, but yeah. Made in heaven, but only using the speed of the stand, not like the main ability. If you just use the speed of the stand, do you understand how much you could get done to set up such just a huge elaborate plan like infinite speed, all types of stuff, you know? A lot, you can get a lot done. Then there's Surface. I'd have to live through the movie Us. That was terrifying. Now you're telling me that there's a clone of me that can just exist and destroy my social standing? That took like at least like 2 years trying to do this shit. It's ridiculous. The situation would be terrible for you, and the stand is fantastic. Now here's a curveball. Here's a curveball. You're looking at me.
Is this camera on me?
Atum. Adam? Atum. Imagine just someone knowing that you're lying. The ability to read someone's soul is scary enough. It's just unsettling. Hey, bro, you want to hang out on Saturday? Oh, no, I got a thing. And it's like, you're lying. What? How the fuck? How do you know? How do you know that? How do you know that? Get out of my head. That's weird. It'd be very disturbing. Like, if someone calling you out on your shit, it's terrifying. Enigma has a whole paper dimension where you can store anything and anybody. Underworld can make you live traumatic events that aren't even yours. Talking Head is that miscommunication trope that you see in like anime, how they're like, oh wow, I wish that they just understood each other or else this wouldn't be happening all the way. You've seen how much it destroys lives, like just straight miscommunication, just everything, just off of that one little stand. Crazy Diamond can destroy as much as it wants to and be completely terrifying, and it just restores it. So that whole rule that we had about destruction doesn't abide to Crazy Diamond. They can just undo it. Imagine telling everyone that a ghost, oh my god, this ghost, it destroyed my room, oh my god. But then you go back inside and you see, oh my god, it's perfectly fine. Am I going bonkers? Am I mad? Yeah, like you lose your stuff. Soft and Wet is just messed up because you can take a lot to just scare someone. I'd be careful on using it. It's very, very dangerous. Just be like, hey, oh, took your ass cheeks. What? That's crazy. Now there are actually 2 stands left that I'd like to mention. There's my pick for the scariest stand. And then there's the second best option that I believe is the most messed up option. Number 2 in command is Judgment. It can create fake wishes from the dirt, right? So imagine a similar situation where the person you're trying to scare ends up asking for someone to return from the dead. Let's say you can turn off the stand ability at any time. You can just remove the intent to kill altogether. It's a mentality thing. The idea is all you want to do is scare them. Here's why that's messed up. That was one of their deepest desires, to bring someone back. And you used it for a scare. Even if it was a good one, even if it were a good one, a good scare, it wouldn't be worth it. That type of psychological damage on someone is extremely sad. And the reason why I plan to do another video on the tragedy that is Polnareff. But yeah, don't pick Judgment, man. That's not right. It's messed up. Don't do it. But on to a lighter note, let's show our number one for the most scare-inducing stand at Heaven's Door. With a quick flick of the wrist, you too can put your friend into a constant state of fear. You can make yourself invisible to their eye and write in enormously horrific monsters to appear in their vision, but they aren't there. You can make them projectile vomit every time they see someone they find attractive. You can make them believe that they did that without them actually doing it too. Like it just didn't happen. Like it was just an illusion in their head. Boop, boop, boop. Write in the fact that they want to walk off a cliff, but then also write that they'd bounce back safe and sound before reaching the bottom. They whoop whoop and come back like it's nothing. Everyone that they see in person could have the face of a can of bread, and it doesn't make sense because it doesn't have to. This ability is the easiest pick of my life, no contest. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Until then, peace out and Godspeed.